All right, Buff Nation, please be joined by Rick George, the athletic director of the Colorado Buffaloes, the outgoing athletic director of the Colorado Buffaloes. You've always been outgoing, but now you're the outgoing.
I am the outgoing, and I'm excited about it. I'm not leaving. This is not a retirement. This is just, slow down a little bit, and I'm excited about that. Get to spend time with my two granddaughters a little bit more, and really looking forward to supporting Coach Prime and what's ahead for him and that program, and go out and try to generate some revenue for the department because we desperately need that. And so I'm looking forward to the next phase, and I'm going to be working with the incoming AD, whomever that is, after the first of the year at some point, and then when we get to July 1, we'll be doing something different.
So everybody always wonders on big decisions like this, what's the timing? Why are you making this decision? So why now, and why are you making the decision to step away?
Yeah, look, Nancy and I have been talking about this since April, and Justin, the Chancellor Schwartz, and I started having this conversation probably late July, early August about, this may be my last year. And then we kind of made the decision, Nancy and I did, and let the Chancellor know that this is something that we're strongly considering, and let's try to put a plan together. And there were 2 bye weeks. We thought the October one was maybe a little bit too soon, and so the second week was the one that we thought would be the best timing, and we made the call and did it. And I'm glad it's out there because there was a lot of speculation about me, but look, it has everything to do with making this place better. I think it's time for new leadership, a new voice, and I'm going to be there to support that person and support football in our revenue-generating areas and whatever Chancellor Schwartz wants me to do.
The other big thing, as this came out, was, from fans to national writers, things like that, is, well, what does this mean for Coach Prime and his future because of your relationship with him? What does it mean for Coach Prime?
Look, I mean, Coach Prime's committed here. I think everybody looks for a reason to think that he's going to leave, and Coach and I have a really good relationship. We talked about this Wednesday night. He kind of knew it was coming, but he and I talked about it, and my commitment to him was, I want to help him get this thing back on track, and it's not like it's off track, like a lot of people think.
And in the press release, and you and I had talked about it, but you're still going to be involved with football. It's not like you're going off into the sunset and going to spend the rest of your life on a beach. I mean, you're still going to be around here and you'll be involved with this football program.
Well, it'd be good to spend the rest of my time,
on
the beach and playing golf. But, I'm committed to this department, athletics here at CU. It's been one of the greatest honors and privileges that I've had to serve our student athletes and our coaches and staff. And I'm looking forward to the next phase, and I think I can be a real asset to this department moving forward in a smaller role, and I look forward to carrying that out.
You had mentioned that you and your wife started talking about this in April, and but you've kind of hinted at this for a while, and even when Coach Prime was hired, you said this will be my last football coach hire, and as you and I have got to know each other, and I've talked to you a lot over the years, these last several years have been trying. There's been a lot to be an athletic director at the Power 4 level, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not the same that it was when I took the job. And it was all about student athletes and getting their education and doing those kind of things. And I think the convergence of NIL and the transfer portal was one thing. But if you think about, and maybe this was a precursor that, we had to cancel my first game because of a 100-year flood for football. And, that kind of started it out. But COVID was tough for everybody. And, the last 5 years with COVID and all that, there's been a lot. Our industry's changed. I think we've got a great plan and strategy in place for the future, and we're executing on that plan. And so, I'm proud of a lot of things that we've done. I'm proud of this building that we built because it's really important for the culture that we have here with our staff and student athletes. And then the Crawford Family Whole Student Athlete Program, there's nothing like it in the country. with the data science team that we put behind it and using that data to condition our student athletes to get them back on the playing surface quicker and all those kind of things. Really proud of those two things, and our student athletes are thriving. Look what our soccer's doing, look what volleyball's doing, and all of our sports teams. And, football, yes, we haven't had the year that we all expected, but the future's bright.
Yeah. For those who don't know, and you and I have talked about it so much, the student athlete has been your number one focus throughout this entire thing. And I remember all the times we talked during the pandemic, I would say, are you going to cut anything? Like, yes, but we will not be cutting from the student athletes. And that's always been your focus. Why has that been your number one thing?
Well, look, our responsibility, in my opinion, whether they're here 1 to 4 years, is that we take those 1 to 4 years and prepare them for the next 40. And, it's great to see people go on. We've got, when I first got here, Claire Wise is now an orthopedic surgeon at Stanford, and seeing some of those success stories is really important to me. And what I wanted to do is be able to provide the resources that our student athletes needed to set them up for the next 40 years and to have the success while they're on our campus. And I think we've achieved that, and there's still a lot to be done, but I think we're in a really good place, and really proud of those two areas that we just talked about.
I remember I did a story back in, I think, 2017 about, student athletes like, do you need more than what you're getting? And most of them were like, no, they treat us really well here. This is great. This is, Stefa Lufau was one that I talked to during that. And these athletes have so much more than even then. The mental health resources and the training table and the career development center, things like that. I think some of those even 10 years ago would be amazed at how much more the student athletes have now.
Yeah, look, it is. And, that's been a priority for us. And we're not going to cut any of those resources. And fortunately, we've had great support from our president, our regents, and our chancellor. And that's been really helpful because this is a challenging time in college athletics. And I want to help, position the next athletic director in this department to have that great success in the future. And, we're just getting started. And I think it's time for somebody coming in new that has new ideas and new thoughts to kind of look at what we're doing, see if, you make some changes here and there. And I do know one thing that has to be done, and we need support from our donors and our fans, is we need to build the West Side. That's the next step, in my opinion. And hopefully we'll focus on that, and that'll be part of my role moving forward. But I'm going to be out asking a lot of my friends to give money to CU Athletics.
You've been doing that a lot for the last 13 years as well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm leaving today to go do that again. But, look, this university and this athletic department means a lot to me. And having been here 87 to 91 with Bill McCartney was an honor and a privilege. And, we did some great things then. But to be able to come back and do the things that we've done and have the success that we're having, I think is important. But at the end of the day, it's our student athletes' success is the way I should be measured, and hopefully we've set a high standard.
There's so much focus on football, rightfully so, but you look at other sports. You mentioned soccer and volleyball, the way they're going. Sweet 16s, plural, for the women's basketball team, and what Tad's done with men's basketball, other sports. How proud are you of the successes that you guys have had here?
I'm very proud. I want to win, and that's always been something that I've talked about. But we're not going to do it at any cost. We're going to do it the right way, and I think our coaches have done that. I think we've assembled a great group of coaches. I can tell you, my executive team is the best in the country. There's incredible people on that. They all care about the same thing I do, and it's making our student athletes' lives better. And we'll continue to focus on that, and then we'll move forward to the next stage.
With football, it's been up and down. There was 2016 was fantastic, and the way you guys handled 2020 was remarkable as well. Getting to a bowl game there, and last year was phenomenal. It's been up and down though. How would you assess where this football program is as you go forward?
Look, I think we've got Coach Prime, and I think that's an important piece that we need to build around, because he can attract young men to come here and play, and that's going to be really important for our long-term success, to make sure that he's here and he has the resources he needs. We've got to look at our personnel on the field, off the field, and evaluate what that looks like. Because the one thing that football hasn't done is it hasn't had consistent success. And so we need to build. We need to have another 9-3, 10-2 year next year, and then we need to build on that and be consistently in a bowl game. And I think Coach Prime and I share that vision and that goal, and so we'll work to that.
Why do you think Coach Prime is the guy that can do that?
Because he's his discipline that he has, his accountability, all the things that. I've seen that before here when we've had that discipline and that accountability and what that can do for us moving forward. And, he's very visible, as we all know, but he's got the right morals. He's got the right compass that guides him. And I just feel strongly that he's the person that can consistently make this program great.
Yeah. Through 13 years, almost 13 years, there's also downs, right? Some trials to go through. There's the situation with Joe Tumpkin at the end of the 2016 season. There's COVID, all that stuff. How much have you guys kind of learned, and how much better is this athletic program because of some of those things that were unfortunate, but you're better because you went through them and learned from them?
Well, look, I'm a big believer that you can learn a lot more from failures than you can success. And we look at those failures and we say, okay, why did we fail? What happened? What are we going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again? And I think if you take that attitude towards that, you're going to help lift all the boats. And, I'm proud of what we've accomplished over 13 years. Yeah, we've had some downs, and I get those, and some of those have been really unfortunate. But I think we've addressed them in the right manner. We don't turn our back on anything. When we have an issue, we address it, and we address it as quickly as we can. And I think that should be maybe a hallmark of one of the other things that I've done. And we've held people accountable, and you got to have accountability in any program that's going to have success. And so I feel good about that.
How active will you be in the transition and trying to find that new athletic director?
Well, I mean, look, I'm sure I'll have a lot of conversations with Chancellor Swartz. It's certainly his call, and I'll give my input as he asks for it. But I certainly won't be driving that. I'll be on the back, kind of sitting in the bleachers watching, and whenever he needs me or wants to consult on something like that, I'll be there to do it. But it's an important hire because, we know where the college sports industry is today, and we need somebody that comes in here that's got the right vision for what the future looks like.
That's my next question is, as you look at this, you said it's time for new leadership. What does the next athletic director need to look like here? What do they need? What kind of tools do they need to have?
Well, I'm not sure, what the next AD needs to look like, but I do think that they have to have passion for student athletes, and that's the paramount thing in my mind, because I think that's something that's driven us and allowed us to be successful. All of our student athletes get the same benefits. Nobody gets more than the other as it relates to the benefits we provide in our Crawford Family Whole Student Athletes. So, for us, we've just got to make sure that we stay focused on what's really important, and what's really important is the mental and physical health and well-being of our student athletes and getting them the right education they need. And of course, we need to win as we do that.
Is it important to get a sitting AD or somebody with AD experience, or at least somebody that's been in college athletics these last few years?
Well, I think it's important that somebody that comes in here understands how to run a business, because this is a business, and that'll be important. And whether they're in the industry or outside of the industry, I don't think there's one over the other. I think it's somebody that's got a vision for the future that can come in. Look, and I'm going to be here 6 months, that I'll be able to sit down and be able to answer questions. So whether they have been in the industry or out of the industry, I don't think it really matters. Look, I wasn't in college athletics, and I came back from a professional thing. And, there were a lot of people said, well, maybe he won't be able to fundraise and do those kind of things. But, you've got to have the right interpersonal skills, because you're going to be on the road a lot. You're going to be meeting with donors. And I think one thing that, I probably haven't done as good a job of is, elevating our fundraising efforts to a level that we need it to be here. And that'll be certainly a focus of me in my role coming up. And the next AD will have to go out and raise money.
Last thing here, great office here. The view is incredible. I comment on every time I come in. Do you have to give this up?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be in a cubicle in the closet, is what Jason told me. So, look, it doesn't matter where I sit. And this is an incredible office. It's a great place to entertain recruits and their families. And I've got the best office. I've been blessed for 13 years and 10 years in this facility, and somebody's going to really enjoy this office.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Go Buffs.